Hey, well, hello everyone. Welcome back to The Collision. It is Daniel here, and I am excited today, honored to be joined by a special guest, and that is Miss Sylvia Brindis. She is the creator
Oh,
and the star of the show Fluff Piece, an exciting new children's show that premiered on July 9th on Wonder Project and Prime Video and releases new episodes every week for its first season. Thanks so much, Sylvia, for taking the time to stop by and talk about your new show.
thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So why don't we get right into kind of the genesis of the show? Because this is there's a lot of fun and pretty wacky things that are going on in this show. You have I almost didn't recognize you without the green, brightly
That's
colored.
right.
You got
hmm
colorful hair, animated dogs, puppets, guest stars, just a ton of stuff going on in this show. What was sort of the inspiration for you for Fluff Piece?
Well, like many of our good ideas, it started with a pun, fluff piece. So, my co-creator Brian had mentioned that, he thought that was a cute term if the reporter was a dog. And so we kind of riffed on that idea for a little bit and kept the project on the back burner. And then when it was actually time to do something, we were moving very, very quickly on this. And so we said, what about this show, Fluff Piece with the dog? And then my husband, Shane Snow, he was a journalist. He came from a journalism background. And so we thought that it was a great opportunity for teaching kids media literacy in a fun, colorful, wacky way. And so it grew out of there. It grew out of the pun, then the character of Fiona Flash, which is my character, of a reporter with her sidekick dog Fluff. Um, that's how it blossomed. And then media literacy really gave us a North Star and a mission, and the rest kind of grew from there.
Yeah, well, I know my father will be happy to hear that a show grew out of a pun. So you're at least
I'm glad.
one person happy with that. Maybe we talk too about this your character in the show because you're the creator. You also star as the character of Fiona Flash. What goes
Yes.
into creating a character like this? Like, is she entirely a work of fiction? Are you pulling from experiences, exaggerated? Like, where do you start developing a character like that?
Um, so it was super fun. I knew that I wanted to bring some of that 1940s newsroom energy to it in a subtle way. And so I thought that the character should embody that a little bit. A big inspiration for my husband and I was Mr. Rogers. And so one of the things that we wanted was for this character to be incredibly kind. Now, I will say that I am also kind, but I think Fiona is kinder. So, that was the other piece to her backbone. It was like she's very serious about journalism and the truth and ethics that go behind the way she pursues the truth. But then she always leads with kindness. So kindness really is the leading attribute to Fiona. And I think the other thing that we wanted to be really important was, if kids are going to learn from our show, we have a supporting cast of humans and puppets who are delightful, but they make lots of little mistakes. And Fiona and Fluff don't judge them for it. They're quite loving in the way that they help them change their mind or see from a different perspective.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mr. Rogers, and I think people,
Mhm.
as I was thinking about this, like people my age, I'm 39 years old. I think people my age, maybe older. I think we can all think of shows with characters like this. I grew up in Canada. We had Mr. Dress Up. I know wherever you are, people have
What?
sort of these sort of
I need to
characters that
look up
they
Mr. Dress Up.
that people resonate with. But I'm a father. I have two 11-year-old twin boys, and it's as I think about it, they don't really have characters like this. Like I don't know if it's missed a generation or
Mhm.
they can't necessarily think of these characters that I know I related to.
Right.
For you with the show, like, why is it important to reach like this specific audience demographic with a show and a character like this?
Well, I became a parent. So becoming a mother made me open my eyes to what was actually out there for my own child. And, you know, during that time, there's quite a trend toward very fast moving nursery rhymes and a lot of kids on iPads and YouTube. And, it's not necessarily that all those things are inherently bad, but I did see that generationally, we're sort of skewing in a direction. And I believed, Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, Reading Rainbow, these things did make a positive impact on me. And I think that children in preschool age, where we can catch them just in time and introduce them to maybe a character like this, to a world like this, where people treat each other a certain way. And yeah,
Yeah, and I know part of it is too just creating content for younger audiences. I think can be notoriously tricky. I think as a father, I know you, as a mother yourself, and you obviously want to keep it safe and not too
yeah,
mature with the content. But as you would know,
hmm
children are also really smart, and you want to
they're
respect their
really smart.
intelligence and
hmm
inspire their critical thinking skills, and not just dumb it
Yes.
down. Like how with this show, like, how did you strike that balance of keeping something that can be safe for the family while also not, thinking too lowly of children and pushing them to develop their skills.
Yes. So we followed, I actually can't remember the name of it, but it's an educational structure where we knew we were introducing them to certain tricky subjects, right? Like, what is your source? Are you sure this isn't some sort of fallacy that we will name? But the show isn't really about being able to be that specific. It's more about how cr thinking critically about information that's coming to you and also how you are communicating with other people. And so what we do is that we introduce a concept, so we talk about it, but then Fiona puts that in action. And so the kids see it being played out in a scene with characters while nobody's really talking about it, but we did talk about it. And then the concept is cemented during the wrap up of the episode when we're writing our story. And so we're hoping that, even the trickier things, maybe kids won't get exactly what the halo effect is, but they'll understand that, not just because somebody is cool, it means that what they're telling is the truth. So I think we strike that balance. I actually think we succeed because the show is funny, entertaining, colorful, and musical. So I think that's what gets the kids through it all.
Yeah, well, I love that as a parent of two young kids. I love just your heart for that. I know the show, as I mentioned at the start, is released through a Wonder Project and Amazon
Yeah.
Prime. And maybe if you just speak a bit, like, what is that partnership with Wonder Project being like, and kind of how does your show fit in with their mission of sort of family friendly entertainment?
Yeah, so we really bonded over what we call lower stim entertainment for our kids. I think that Wonder Project is aligned with us in that, okay, we may have gotten out of hand a little bit with YouTube, and I think that this movements like the anxious generation movement, we're now more aware of what that attention span does to our kids. So we were really aligned on that. Um, I know that they're coming out with more and more family entertainment, and uh, one of our missions is for families to watch together. Our show is for preschoolers, but we think it's like Bluey, where there's some jokes in there that older siblings get. The older siblings might not want to admit that they love our songs, but our songs are really catchy. And then I think the parents will, they might want to stick around in the room because they'll get some references that the kids don't. And so I think Wonder Project, they want that too. They want that the TV or entertainment to be family time again.
Yeah, and I will confess, as a parent, that I've been guilty of watching some Bluey on my own and some children's shows, even after my kids
I mean,
have
Bluey is
got.
so excellent.
I think
So good.
truth and fun is truthful and fun,
hmm
regardless of age. In case you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe you were born in Guatemala, and this might just be my
Yes.
own my own ignorance. But the types of shows, at least the ones that I grew up like this, haven't always showcased a whole lot of diversity. And I
hmm
think your show, obviously you leading it, and even from what I've
Yeah.
seen with the cast and the various side characters,
hmm
maybe what if, I mean, if anything, does it mean for you to be able to lead a show like this?
It means a lot for me. I was born in Guatemala, not, in a very unprivileged part of town, let's just say. And today I was thinking about it. And I've come a long way, and I think that it's important. I mean, I did it. When I was starting out, I looked up Guatemalan actresses. I looked up Guatemalan showrunners. It's this thing you just become aware of because um, in my journey in Hollywood, I didn't meet a lot of people like me. And so, yeah, it feels really good. It's very nice to be the executive producer because then nobody questions, the diverse cast that we do want to showcase. And I'm hoping I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to do this, but I'm hoping to play Fiona Flash in Fluff Piece in Spanish. So we can localize it so that Latin American audiences can see that there's a show that's also made for them. It's not just been dubbed. So we'll see how that goes.
Awesome. And maybe last question for you. I know you wear many hats with this show. You're
And a
just
wig
many
and
hats
a
and
few wigs. Yeah.
some colorful wigs. Kind of my last
Uh-huh.
question for you is like, what does success look like in your eyes for this show? Like, I know as executive producer, the show just
Mhm.
released. You'd like people to stream it and get some of that numbers, but
Yeah.
as like the creator of it, someone that sort of lived with this character, like, what is it that like if a child watches through the first season of this, like, what is that you
Yeah.
hope they come away from with that experience?
Well, I hope they come away uh, feeling energized by it. That they can follow their curiosity and not be scared, and they can follow their curiosity with kindness. I think success to me feels like the show finding its audience. That kids watch it and love it, and then they want to watch it again, and that they want to watch more. Um, Luckily, we got a 2-season deal with Wonder Project, and so we have lots of fun things that are coming up in season 2, and lots of ideas for more seasons. So that's the hope.
Awesome. Well, I think it will. I think we'll find this audience. I love your heart for this project. Like I said, the show debuted just I think a couple weeks ago with its first episodes.
Yeah,
So new episodes every week throughout its first season and leading into the second season. But thanks so much,
that's
Sylvia, for
right.
just taking. I know this is a busy time for you with all your time hanging out with animated dogs and, and everything else you're up to these days. But thank you so much for
Yeah,
taking the time just to talk a bit about this show.
thank you.